Good morning. Hello, Agape. I love Agape. You make me feel welcome. I feel like I'm at home, so thank you so much. So I'm grateful for Reverend Lee for our friendship and for Jean, who's just absolutely so powerful, that the divine feminine that is arising is no coincidence. So I was absolutely, and I'm not an action hero movie person, but when I went to go see Wonder Woman, it's not just because she looks ever so fabulous and that I want to work out every time I watch the movie, but there was a deep theme of the power of love. Patty Jenkins intentionally has 4 themes, and so every 6 weeks we're going to focus on one. The divine feminine rises today as power, which is the power of love. Then we'll have grace, wisdom, and wonder. We're going to watch, and we got to give, first of all, Patty right here a round of applause, and Stephen for getting this going. How many of you have seen the movie? Raise your hand. All right. How many of you have seen it more than once? Right? All right, good. So we're going to dive into the divine feminine energy inspired by Wonder Woman, weaving the two together. It's a 3-minute clip, but I felt important because every time I watch it, it's this strength that arises in me, that archetype of the power of love and the feminine when I watch. So 3-minute clip, enjoy if we can get the lights.
Diana, fighting does not make you a hero.
What if I promise to be careful? Just a shield then.
Diana.
No sharp edges.
Be careful of mankind, Diana. They do not deserve you.
You've told me this story.
What is this place? Who are you people?
We are the bridge to a greater understanding.
Right.
What is your mission?
Well, here's the thing. You are in more danger than you think. The boys in the trenches called her Dr. Poison. Millions would die. The war would never end.
I'm going, Mother. If you choose to leave, you may never return. Who will I be if I stay?
Will come when you have to rise.
To the war.
Well, technically the war's that way, but we gotta go this way first.
How can a woman fight in this? Ooh.
Who's this young woman?
She's my,
Diana, Princess of the
Prince, Diana Prince. If you believe that this war should stop, help me stop it right now. What are you?
You will soon find out.
With this. I used to want to save the world, to end war and bring peace to mankind. But then I glimpsed the darkness that lives within their light. And I learned that inside every one of them, there will always be both. A choice each must make for themselves. Something no hero will ever defeat. And now I know that only love can truly save the world. So I stay, I fight, and I give for the world I know can be. The power of Wonder Woman is the embodiment of the empowerment of love in the world. Yes, there is her ability as the demigod to just out-strengthen any person, all right? But that's not her real power. The truth is that she sees the light in every single person. But here's the thing with Diana. She doesn't know she's a demigod. And so it brings me to the realization of like, when the divine feminine is arising within us right now as a culture, what is arising is not just what's considered the feminine aspect of the divine that lives in all of us. Intuition, love, cooperation, honesty, personal empowerment. She represents the fierce feminine that you'll hear Andrew Harvey talk about, Caroline Myss, Mirabai Starr, who's a feminine mystic. And the fierce feminine is that power of love that stands up in the midst of darkness and says, never again. It's the fierce feminine that brings in that challenge, even though it's so uncomfortable, to say that this is our truth, that we are really made of light and love, and that the darkness cannot prevail. Diana is the fierce feminine, the divine warrior, but she encompasses that divine feminine that is love, compassion, and heart. And what's so powerful about this movie, I used to work in the industry, it takes years for a script to be written, to assemble the cast, to film it, to edit it, and for it to land in 2016 when all of the movement that is arising within women and men. I'm inviting you to not see this as separation. But we've lived in the last several thousand years where the matriarchal and the patriarchal have been at odds. This is the harmonizing principle of the divine masculine aspect that lives in all of us, the divine feminine qualities that lives in all of us. But it is the rise of the divine feminine right now to wake us up. We are being called to love. We're being called to the fierce feminine. We're being called, not feminist, we're being called to that love that says no to war or no to separation, yes to wholeness, yes to living your magnificence, yes to us thriving. And so this movie for me was that perfect archetype of strength, wisdom, the power of love that must answer the call that is within. Patty Jenkins said the truth that is being told through this feminine character is that we must rise up. All of us, men, women, the shift of the paradigm. For me personally, it's not about balance, because balance is always that teeter-totter. It is harmony, harmonizing what is within me, harmonizing in the outer world, coming together in that full recognition of the wholeness and the oneness and the love that is God. Just like Robin sang so beautifully, and thank you to my best friend for coming on the request to come sing that song so we can integrate it within you. That the divine love that is being shown in this movie, the strength of this warrior woman who has no idea, but there's a calling, there is a longing, there's an uncertainty, but she feels like she's being pulled into this vision of her true reality. So she doesn't know she's a demigod. She's the daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta. She slowly unravels who she is when she's being trained, and they train and they train, and I'll talk about that in a minute. That is our spiritual practice. But in that moment when she realizes she has this power and then walks off, and walks to face the ocean, that's when Steve Trevor's plane comes in, that's when the whole thing shifts for her. She is suddenly awakened that there's something more within her that she does not understand, but it is hers to be in this world. The divine feminine that is fierce is not about war and violence, because she prefers the love and compassion. But she stands in a place when she says, no, this, no more. It's set in the background of World War I, the first time humanity has come on a global level for devastation instead of celebration. And she sees the light, but as she says, we each have to awaken it on our own. So her story of origin, being a demigod, is our story of origin. That the power and the presence that we call God, the I am that I am, is your beingness. How many of you grew up with that concept, the divine within? I see 1 hand, 2 hands, 3 hands, and 4 hands. We do not judge the way that we were raised or the Western, philosophy. What we're bringing together now with the divine feminine that is arising is that the power of the women in the feminine, but also the divine feminine in men, are being called to recognize the power that is not a power that is external. It is not about violence. It's not about competition. It's not about conflict. It's about cooperation. We are being called as a species to wake up. And Wonder Woman, for me, is that embodiment of in the unknown, the strength that I call forth. The I am, that I am, that I am. That is your light. That is your love. That is your touchstone of truth. All that God is your individualized life. But how often do we forget that? How often do we lead with our ego? How often do we let pain persist? Labels and that inner critic to guide us. And when we tune within to the power and the presence that is the one, when we surrender to that light that is greater, when we tap into the truth of the I am, our power is unleashed like Diana's. Now, she had to make a decision. Here's Steve Trevor. Here's this guy. He's coming from another world. They don't have men on the island, you know. Some would like that, some wouldn't, you know. So depends on which side of the aisle you're on, all right? So it's all God, it's all good. But, you know, but here is this unknown shift in her life. But it's not about him. It's that call when he's saying it's the war to end all wars. Children are dying. Women are dying. Men are dying. And you can see Diana awakening that I have to do something. I have to do something. And she answers that inner call. She leaps to the tower. She gets the lasso of truth. She gets what she thinks is the God killer, which later, you know, and I'm a peacemaker, so it's not about the war, but later she realizes that it's her internal strength and power. And in the darkness, she meets Steve Trevor. And then her mother comes down. And her mother's like, if you leave, you know you can't come back. And this is the line. This is the decision point. So we have her origin, the demigod, our origin, which is God. But then here's the decision point. Who would I be if I stayed? Who would you be if you stayed in a relationship that's just not working for you? Who would you be if you actually believe that love is possible, that you can consciously move through conflict with your beloved and maybe consciously release it? But to stand in the truth that there is a power and presence of love is my life and for this person, but I see time after time people so afraid of love that they stay and they create chaos and they imprint that. Who would you be if you believed that love was truly possible? Who would you be if you left that job that was literally killing you, physically killing you, because you have this gift over here that's been calling you, that's been longing? That is that genius that is yours, that is seeking to share in the world, but you've been conditioned, no shame, no blame, to believe that it has to be this way. It can only look this way, and it's a cookie cutter pattern, and yet day after day after day, you check off your calendar one last day. Who would you be if you stepped into the grace and love and power of God, tuned into that which is seeking to reveal itself as you? To let that book download and be published, to allow that song to release itself, to be that healing center, Jennifer, to be all that is yours to be, to know that in what you're doing as you step into that truth, you are being the presence of God. Because who are you to stay? Frank Ostesky, can never pronounce his name correctly, works with people who are dying. And each time, those who have not made choices to live from their highest selves, to live from their truth and their gifts, to trust that the universe provides, to follow that calling, even though it's dark and we don't know, just like Diana going into the water, into the world that she has no idea. He goes, at the end, they ask, I wish I could have, or they say, I wish I could have done it differently. I wish I could have made the choices to live my life fully. And it's the most painful thing to be in that last day in regret. So stay here with me in your heart. Close your eyes and imagine yourself. Let's say you're 96 to 100 years old, all right? Let's live a long, good life. And I want you to turn around and look at the journey that has taken you up to the point where you're ready to transition into a greater reality, and notice the choices that you've made. Now, your 96-year-old self is going to talk to whatever age you are now and has a request. Dear one, I love you. I love you so much. Dear one, I know your gifts. Will you please choose to share your light and your love in the world so when I reach this point, I can celebrate this next phase of my life. Dear one, tell me, what is it that you are seeking to be right now? And listen. Now ask yourself now, who would I be if I stayed? Who would I be if I stayed? And now shift to the what if. What if? What if? Go ahead and open your eyes. What if? Take that thing that's seated in your heart. What if? What if I trust that God provides? What if I trust that this divine feminine energy that's arising, that's transforming all of life, that is that impulsion of power and courage and strength to actually choose your path to be in this world? I went to the March for Our Lives yesterday with the kids. This is not about politics, my friends, but these are children who have stood up and stayed and said yes to the light for a way of life that is more empowering. But who would you be if you said no? Because when we say yes, we're taking that leap like Diana. She had no idea of the powers that we're seeking to actually unfold within her. Just in that scene when she rises up because there's death and she's talking to this woman who's crying and there's people over there held hostage and the guys want to go this way and Diana's like, no. That's the point where she turns and realizes her power as Wonder Woman. That's that scene where she's going up the ladder. That's that scene where she's taking on all the heat, but she's doing it for the greater reality. There is something within you that we as the world really truly deserve to have you share. Because what would have happened if she didn't? Take a look around the room and look that this is the God presence that is here as your life. So we have this decision point, and here is your place of empowerment. If you watch the movie, and seriously, I wanted to go work out every time I watch this woman. They trained, and they trained, and they trained, and they trained, and they trained. And they didn't stop training. Every single day they got stronger, more powerful. They did not know when that moment would arise. But this is our spiritual practice. This is our shift in consciousness. Your spiritual practice grounds you in the ultimate truth that is God. Your spiritual practice, your meditation, attunes you to the divine presence that is your life. Your spiritual practice moves you into a place of gratitude for the good that is here now and all that is yet to come. I, in the last year, have had opportunities to be in gratitude for my spiritual practice. It is challenging to watch someone you care about implode. It is a friend who doesn't live in Texas, and to hear what was happening in her life, the fear, I can't let go of this, I gotta stay here, my business is not doing well, and then there's this implosion, and the invitation to use that power to ground in your truth. It is your anchor. It is your touchstone. It is your place from which, like Diana, that shield of light, that force field of good is unleashed in the world. But we will not be empowered unless we are grounded in the reality of the allness that is God, and we can only taste that in meditation. Deep, abiding connection, remembrance of the presence. Our affirmative prayer plants the seeds. Our visioning practice guides us just to get that calling and move forward. But Wonder Woman is a state of mind. It is that strength, that archetype of the female divine. She's like Kali, in the Hindu pantheon. She destroys but then creates. Shakti in the Hindu pantheon, which is the equivalent, the female divinity of the primordial energy. Shiva is that male aspect. That resides in you. And it's seeking to express as you, in your unique way. Imagine 4 years ago when I started my ministry, if I said, hey, I don't have funding. I'm not going to do it. Teach children mindfulness? What? Because I heard it loud and clear. Teach children mindfulness. And step by step by step, I listened, I attuned. My prayer work guided me. My connections with other people was a light along that way. That power of the divine feminine that said it's not okay that my kids, and I call them all my kids, live in anxiety over tests, live in fear because where they live, I must do something. Who would I be if I did not? And just recently, they came to Hexter, and NBC did like a 2-minute clip, and I hear Ezra, whose father died in the fall, and I remembered they found me that Monday morning going, Miss Veronica, we need you to come to class. Ezra's not here yet, but Ezra and Naomi's dad passed away unexpectedly. And to give those kids the gift to sit in a community circle and share with their feelings. Even one girl saying, I'm so mad at God, Miss Veronica, to be in that place to express that. And then to have him and his sister come back and walk them, and then to hear him say last week, he uses a practice 1,000 times. He goes, in those moments when I'm getting down about my dad passing away, pause 5 or 6 times a day to breathe, to connect. Who would I have been if I said no? So who are you to be in your yes? The divine feminine energy is arising in a powerful way. We are ending all these cultural contexts of what we need to be, who we should be, this and that. We're being called as men and women to awaken to the courage to say yes to love, no to separation, to say yes to cooperation, no to violence, to say yes to sharing your light in whatever way is in alignment with you. I have no opinion about how you show up in the world. I just want you to show up as your magnificent self. Can you absolutely understand that power of Wonder Woman, and I'm serious, she gives me that strength when it is challenging. Because this earth plane can be a little challenging sometimes, don't you think? And it's in those moments that archetype of the divine feminine, that rising of energy, that shift, we are birthing a new humanity right now, and you're a part of it. The very fact that you are here, the very fact that you are actually consciously using or learning to use spiritual principles, the very fact that you've awakened to your divinity and that we are looking through the lens of oneness instead of lens of duality, that is the transformation of the divine feminine. She is calling us to wake up now, bring in the divine masculine, harmonize those principles, be your fabulous self, and go shine your light in the world. Are you willing? Are you truly willing to accept that? So the charge with Wonder Woman, the divine feminine, and it's fierce right now. Fierce is not bad. Fierce is that discernment of wisdom. Fierce is that clarity of vision. Fierce is that knowing this is my truth no matter what the world wants to tell me. Fierce is that place of love that even if you may not see it, you have to know it is so. Fierce is that place when your friend has a vision and you say yes, yes, yes. And when they try to go backward, you lead them forward with that divine love, that divine power, that divine strength. You mirror to others what a conscious life looks like and the possibility. And that's what was challenging, to watch a friend implode. I can't do the work for her. To watch someone not choose real love. I can't change somebody's mind. But what I mirror as Wonder Woman is that power of love. Because love is the force, the universal force that never gets talked about enough. It is our primordial essence that is the impulsion of the divine mind that's expressing as us. Love in its fiercest form will lift you out of your complacency, move you from that place of duality, call you out for your not sharing your gifts and say, girl, men, women, all of us, now, because the time is now to wake up. We must wake up now. So I invite you to let those excuses go and to move into a place of full love. Robin's going to come up, and we're going to do a little chant together and a prayer with her song. But remember this for Wonder Woman. Your origin You're the divine made manifest in, through, and as you authentically please be you. The decision point. Who would I be if I stayed and move into what if, and let me trust and know that Spirit fully supports this. Your empowerment is your spiritual practice, moving into that indwelling presence. And as the divine feminine arises, and we'll talk more in these next series, that power of love and cooperation, truth and honesty, the one that must sometimes be so fierce, is calling you into your magnificence. So let me ask you a question. Are you willing to stand as the power of love in the world as conscious beings? Yes? Are you willing to be your magnificent light in this world? Yes? Say, I accept the power of love as my life. I allow the power of love as my life. I am the power of love as life. Again, I accept the power of love as my life. I allow the power of love as my life. I am the power of love as my life. And like Diana, Princess of Themyscira, Wonder Woman, the strength of God is your strength. Close your eyes. Feel this vibration. Allow yourself to be in the presence of love right here, right now.
I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.